This is part 2 of the squirrel of trying to do color. So on your far right, outside of the image, we're going to do colors: white, a peach color, a terracotta, a Tuscan red, brown, and then a black. And you're just going to scribble them on so you understand what kind of color will come out on this paper. And then I also want you to draw your graphite pencil through it to make sure that it will cover, that you can go back and put some graphite on top of that. Our colors laid out here, and we decide which ones. We're going to start with the white first. Okay, so if we look at the original picture, we've got white here, and white in his belly, and maybe a little bit around the eye, definitely white in the dot, but we're going to save that for last. Okay, so you're going to take your white and just very lightly go in over top of your spots where you see white. Even if you see a shadow, just go right over top, and because you'll see this light grayish here in the center between his legs, so you're just going to color that a little bit, and his white bottom shows through the inside of his leg, so we're going to do that a little bit, and then we're going to work over to the belly. So that's what I want you to do first. Out, and I put it up here in the cheeks, and down in here I put it a little bit on the chest area, and came a little bit farther down. Make sure you're doing a circular motion until you get to these fine hairs, and then you can go straight. And then I did a little bit of white over here on those fungus brackets. Okay, now we're going to move on to peach. On to the peach, or this peachy light tan, and we're going to go around the eye to see how that lays out. Maybe put a little bit into the fur. We're going to go down to his nose and put just a little color, and then I want you to go down here to his toes and do just the front portions of his toes so that they are lighter than anything else. So we're just going to mark them in, and around his eye I may put just a little bit of white on top of that peach to lighten it up. So that's your next step. Added some peach and white up here to the ear, and now we're going to go into this orangish red. My pencil is called terracotta. You can take brown and orange and mix it together if you don't have it. And we're going to go the pad of his toe, the front of his leg, around his ears a little bit, between his nose and his eye, some of this tail, and a little bit on his back. Okay, so we're going to do that, and we'll be right back. Put a little bit of this reddish terracotta color in. We're working here in the back. When you're doing the tail, try to stay with the hair. Don't go across it. So when you're doing the tail here, you got to go up and down, up and down, up and down. And you have to remember, when you go to blend it, the blender is going to pick out the graphite and not the color. So really make sure of your color strokes so that we can always put the graphite back. That's why we tested it here, to see if the graphite would show back up. So we can always put that back. So we've got a little bit here on his leg, maybe a little bit here on his elbow, okay, here, and then a little bit on his haunch back here. We'll just do a little bit pieces, and you do it slowly. This darker reddish color, and we put it around the ears, put it on the tip, a little bit here, some here, on the leg, on the shadow of the belly, but mostly here in the tail, and maybe a little bit right here. But I want to start with this color in that log where he's standing. If you look at the picture and you see this front piece facing you, that has that reddish tinge in some areas. So that's where I want this terracotta. Nope, this is Tuscan red. Tuscan red, it's the darker red. I want that to go so that you can start seeing the reddish color in the log. Make sure you blend in the direction of the graphite underneath so that you're not lifting too much of the graphite. Okay, and we're going to do that dark brown here, and we're going to color in that log, and maybe a little bit on his belly, and maybe a little bit there, but you don't want to use it too much. You might use it for a shadow here under the lichens. Okay, and then we're gonna blacken the eye and use a white gel pen to put the white dot in there, and then we're gonna fill in the background with whatever color you choose. Your squirrel's a little bit orangish red, so maybe a blue background or a green background. And then once you get the background in, then you use a mechanical pencil and stroke in those whiskers. Okay, so that's the plan. Anyway, so right now what we're going to do is we're going to darken that log. If you look at your picture that you have, it's very, very dark. And so we're just going to keep filling it in, filling it in. Try to stay in the direction of your graphite so that you don't leave any grooves in the paper that will catch light. Down towards the end. His eye looks pretty dark, but what I'm going to do is just in the eyeball itself, I'm going to use that black. It's pretty much the only place that I'm using that black. Maybe a little touch on his nose and his nasal. And then I'm going to take a gel pen, a white gel pen, and do that white dot in his eye. So now that makes that white dot really, really pop, is a white gel pen. Okay. And then after all this, you can leave the background all the same if you want, or you can take the time to lightly crosshatch or scrumble a background in so that he stands out. Okay, so you can do that, and you can make it darker or lighter, and if you don't like the way that it's looking, you can erase most of the color away and decide whether you want to put a background in or not. So but once you commit to a background, you have to put a background in. So I'm going to overlay it with a background, and then I'm going to do the whiskers, and we'll be right back. Say hello, everybody.
Hi. Hello.